I do love that intro. Big up, everybody. How we all doing on a Saturday evening? It's been a bit of a while because my partner in crime was off sorting himself out some education. So, like, Bantz, how are you, my brother, and how you been? You're looking tired, dude.
I'm good, man. Yeah, I was on the treadmill this morning, so I'm feeling a little bit mash
Ah,
up.
oh yeah, don't worry. I'm doing all my core exercises and stuff now because I'm doing all my rehabilitation for my shoulder. So trust me, I know how you feel, bro. My
Really
legs and
good,
my
really
arms have
good.
been getting it, bro. And how are my lovely esteemed panelists tonight? I've got a debut, right, in Anthony. How are you, sir?
Not too bad, Wolfie. When you asked me on, I thought, right, there's a chance to jump on the show. I'm looking forward to it. I've been on a couple of shows with Bantz as well. Big up to Bantz and Wolfie. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And big up to you as well, Hot Fuzz.
Well, on that note, welcome back, Fuzz. It's been a couple of weeks since I've had you on, my friend. How are you?
Doing all right, yeah. Work's been a bit more full on, a bit more switching up the throttle a bit. Not a lot of people currently employed at my place, so massive inflation of hours, but I ain't complaining. I'm getting some good money for it, so I'm happy in those regards. It's good, honest work, and yeah. So aside from that, a little bit sweetish in terms of United's results, but performances have they've been stinking up the gap a little bit. Smells a bit like a sewage works at the moment. It really stinks.
Yeah.
And
You should have started Trafford. You should have started Trafford and leaking and going into the fans because it's been known
it's
to
the
happen at
drip.
United recently.
It's the drip that's catching onto everybody. Everybody that goes from Old Trafford, they take the stink with them home and away, and now we've got to try and survive against Man City tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what. Let me start on the games tomorrow, and we'll start off with City. Right now, I don't know how people are looking at this, and I'll probably start off with Bantz because I'll go into Fuzzy last because it's his team. But I want to ask Bantz, my co-host, this: like, do United even stand a chance
Who?
against United against City
City.
tomorrow? Yeah.
Every team's got a chance. You both start at zero, so you know what makes me laugh? Like, okay, I know City's a great team, but Spurs drew there. Chelsea drew there. 11th place, 10th place Chelsea drew there. Was the better team for the majority of the game.
You mean at United?
Sorry.
At United or at City?
No, the City game. City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you lot drew with them, but you lot could have easily won that game, I think. So it's a derby. I think United. Yeah, you can say Højlund being out is a big miss and stuff like that, but they've got enough in their team to maybe not win, but probably a draw. I would suspect, because City are going to be charged. City are going to have the majority of the ball, I suppose, and yeah, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game, but the worst thing is hearing a lot of Man United fans just being really negative and just predicting score lines of like 4-1, 3-0, 5-0. You just think to yourself, I can never, even if Spurs were like much better than us, at some point, I can never envisage myself saying I wouldn't care, yeah, if Spurs were like top of the league at this stage and I was like 19th. I would never say, oh, I can see Spurs smashing us 5-0 today, 4-0, blah blah
Yeah, you
blah.
went to roll
That would
over.
just never, that even if I thought that to myself, I could never say it, So
Just keep
United, man, United fans, man. Man, and the funny thing is as well, they're gonna have loads of chests for us though, for Arsenal though. They'll have a lot of chests for Arsenal when we go to Old Trafford. You're not beating us here. You're not. I want to see the same chest for City as well. Go there and do yourselves proud. Do
If I
yourselves
take my
proud,
top
man.
off, you can see the same chest.
Nah, I don't want to see that hairy chest, man.
Pigeon test, mate. Pigeon test.
Hey. So yeah, I think you know, I think it's not going to be as clear cut as everyone thinks. You know, United frustrated. Everyone thought, you know, when United got slapped up by Liverpool last season 7-0, that the same thing was going to happen this season. You know, they got a brilliant draw there. I just think they can do the same thing at City if they really, you know, apply themselves, because they didn't have Højlund that game. I don't think they didn't have Højlund last season, so it depends, innit? It depends on the mindset of the players, innit?
Well, on that, let me flip it to Anthony, because I'll tell you what, Anthony, right? I think Bantz has just said a really key thing there. No Højlund. Are we actually at the point, and I'll ask Fuzzy last, does Højlund actually make a difference to United now, or is he slowly becoming that guy, or is it just one of those ones he's just hit a purple patch? What do you think?
I think he's a bit of both, Wolfie, to be honest with you. I think he is that guy. You know, he's starting to score goals of late. You know, so he's been winning games for Man United of recent. But I mean, with him out injured now, that's going to be a blow. I don't know who they're going to play up front there. The only player that they've got there, which I believe is their second highest top goal scorer and Fuzzy's best player, is McTominay. He most probably has a feature.
I'm a Combinator.
So
he's
the second highest goal scorer for Man United.
Good finisher, isn't he? Good finisher, man.
Yeah.
What was that saying? They should take him out of midfield and put him up top. That's how many goals he was scoring for them.
Well,
That's not a bad shot.
Yeah, I mentioned that, but Fuzzy, I think you love that idea, didn't you, Fuzz? But
No, I despise McTominay on a football pitch. Full stop.
Yeah,
Serious.
He started against Forest, and honestly, well, yes, he did start against Forest. Every game that McTominay has started this season, he's been absolutely dreadful. His best performances have come in like the last 10-20 minutes coming off the bench. That's why I'm complicit. If he keeps up his impact and his impetus on the games, if he's coming on as the impact sub, I've got no quarrels with that, because it's impact from the bench. But every time he started, he's not the same player. There's quite a few people that we've had down the years that are not the same players when you start them versus when they come off the bench. Fred was another case. He'd come on and literally the guy would just be sprinting. It's like the FIFA players that have got the trigger fingers. They literally just hold down sprint the whole game. Whereas Fred, when he starts, he's very stop, start, really just like off the boil. Scott McTominay's just another one of those players, and I'm all for having somebody, if for what Scott can bring, if he comes off the bench, to be that extra player that gets thrown forward when the ball goes route one. That's ideal for him. So yeah, that's where I see McTominay's most valuable asset, being a most valuable asset to the team, is probably that type of player. But as far as being system based, starting a game, he hasn't got the tools or the specialties to really manage the game in his role for 90 minutes. He hasn't got that.
No, but trouble is, Dave, guys, you got to admit, in all fairness, let's go back to last season. You were a better team last season than obviously this season, right? But last season, when you played Man City at the Etihad, you lost 6-3, right? And then it makes you think. I mean, I think Anthony Martial scored your last goal, your like your third goal. But in all fairness, you were poor in that game. But what I'm trying to say is,
scored. He scored a banger in that guy.
Yeah, he scored a banger. Yeah, but in all fairness, I mean, if you're not nowhere near as good as what you was last season, so it does make you think. I mean, I'm just going off the scoreline from last season, 6-3. So, and Haaland's been in form of recent. Obviously that FA Cup game against Luton. I was on a show the night before, and I think it was me and Jez, And we were chatting about Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne. Since they come back off of injury, they haven't really been obviously that great. I think we jinxed it because obviously Haaland ended up scoring 5 goals. Kevin De Bruyne assists 4 out of those 5 goals. So we were like, yeah, great. So so obviously we jinxed that one kind of.
That was away as well at Kenilworth Road. So that's the first team this season to go to that ground and just bitch slap Luton. Absolutely destroyed them.
Well, Haaland really did, actually, to be fair. But the thing is that Luton, there was their own downfall because they kept on leaving the space between, and they even did it today against Villa. They leave that space in the midfield between their defence and the midfield, and literally, City were just picking the pockets, literally, because Haaland would just run into the vacated space, be left one on, and I can't remember who that centre back was. He was left 1-on-1 with the other day. Like 3 of the 4 times he scored his goal, he was left one, but he absolutely toasted him. Like, it was just on Haaland, you got to get your centre backs doubling up, and it was just like I appreciate Luton have that strategy where they have a go, but not against these guys, bro. He's supposed to be the best of the best. Like, nah, don't do that. Don't do it. Just don't do. But on that, right, on what you've just said, like, Amrabat. I want to ask Fuzzy this, right? Because what has he become at United? Because I'm not being. I've heard Amro shit, Amro crap. I've heard all sorts of names this guy's been called.
Is that just Firmino that's saying that? Because I know he hates him.
No. Firmino's one of them, and he's not even a Man United fan. I'm talking about other Man United fans. They can't stand him.
Well, the thing is, though, is with Amrabat, how many games consistently has he started this season? Has he really been given has he really been put front and center with this loan spell that he's had? It feels like he first comes in, oh, well, we've got no fit left backs. Do you fancy playing at left back? Well, I just want to get in the team. Okay, so you play at left back, cover there for a while. We then get a cover left back in. Amrabat goes back to being a midfielder. Casemiro, whenever he's not fit and available, Amrabat only then starts to get any sight of the pitch. But by which point, with everyone fit and available, he's out of favour. And the biggest question mark I have is more on the manager as to why somebody that you can want can be so out of favour, despite him being a loan signing, because this is a loan to buy, well, with the option to buy. And if you bed him in that well, you can say, well, there we go. There's a summer signing right there. Pre-negotiate a cheaper fee, and he plays a bigger part. But he's not played him anywhere near consistently enough to really warrant saying that guy, yeah, he's definitely got it, or no, he's no fit for this club. The amount of times that we've seen him play, he's in the team sheet 1 week, he's on the bench as an unused sub the next week. After that, maybe he comes on for 10 minutes towards the end of the game. It's just so inconsistent. There's not really enough there to really say, yeah, no, he's definitely been a flop, or to really give accurate enough judgment on a player. So for me, I mean, playing against Forest, for example, he's covering at left back, and one thing that I pick out with Amrabat is that on the ball, he's actually really good. He's really good on the ball. His off the ball stuff can be a bit questionable in terms of covering the spaces, tracking the runners, bits like that. He's very good on the ball, really good eye for a pass, and you saw that in how patient we were with possession. Usually we're a bit drastic with how we play out from the back. Usually it goes into midfield, and then it's just a route one pass into the attacking third, by which you turn over possession too quickly, and it's just an attack wasted. So we spend more time having to hold defensive shape, but we're not necessarily a team that's quite built to be soak up, and then then break per se as far as the system goes, because Ten Hag wants play out from the back, control the tempo, control the game, and create your chances. You need patient players with that. Amrabat is a patient on the ball player, playing more of those 5-yard, 10-yard passes just to interlink play a bit. And it was quite clear and obvious with how the possession stats were setting up. Much more of the ball when we had it versus being really, really end to end and just cheaply giving away possession like I think Ericsson was doing against Fulham. Bruno's been doing pretty much all season. Anthony, when he's played at times, some of their attackers as well. I mean, Garnacho, Rashford, they cheaply give the ball away, and it doesn't benefit the rest of the team, because if you play silly passes and you give the possession up cheaply, you have to then transition into defensive shaping. And for any team on the planet, if you're doing that literally every single minute, because somebody's being an absolute tosspot up top and trying to do absolute madness, then it's tough. You spend a lot of time drastically running, going crazy to get back into a position, because the difference between how United seemingly have to defend to soak up that pressure versus where the manager wants us to play in possession, we're literally opposite ends of the pitch. So maybe as far as injuries go, maybe there is a correlation between that. So when we should be averagely positioned higher up the pitch, we're constantly giving the ball away too cheaply. So everyone's having to run back. Everyone's having to constantly do this. It's like a seesaw. It's literally go backwards, backwards, backwards. Too fast, too much. When you get the ball, work your way up. Patience. That's why I've got problems with Bruno. So I've got problems with guys like Rashford, Anthony, other forward players.
But hang on, you said on Bruno. I gotta ask this, right? I know there's been a lot of that trash talk about Rashford recently, about he's not hit the heights he had. Has he dipped off? Now, as much as people will go at Rashford, tell me about Bruno. It's because after to say, for me, out of all the players that have suffered the most in that Man United team, is Bruno Fernandes, because his numbers have dropped completely. This guy's not even the player he was 2 seasons ago. So yeah, I just want to quickly ask you about that before we move on. Give me your take on Bruno Fernandes right now.
Bruno Fernandes for me is not. Maybe you can say it like this: he's not a Ten Hag player. He's not what he would have had at Ajax. He wouldn't have had that type of player there. He's very much, his best work has been under Ollie. Counter-attack, not really specifically structured, but just breakaway play, use the ability and the eye for a pass, and then have the execution there. That worked for Bruno. A bit more freedom for him to do what he wants to do. Whereas with Ten Hag, you've got to be in a certain place at a certain time and looking for the right type of pass, as opposed to, picking out somebody who's like trying to do a no-look diagonal crossing ball across the face of goal to the guy that's on the other side running in back post. Like he sometimes tries to do that, but that's, as I've said, it's not the patient build-up that the manager wants. It's trying to skip a couple of stages of the attack. And it's not worked out for him. I suppose whether it's the case that there's not really a lot of players trying to, to make the runs to compensate Bruno. Maybe if the team was set up to be built around Bruno, you would see better movement off the ball to favour how he plays and his play style.
I see what you mean, yeah.
But the play styles, I think for me, they just conflict each other. So Bruno's trying one thing, it's not on the same wavelength for the team. And that's the bit that to me is a big issue, because usually a manager can just say, well, because you're not fit for this system, I'll just drop you and bring somebody else into the team. Question is, who is there that replaces him week in, week out.
Scott McTominay.
No,
I second that.
Aye.
he
Any
replaced it. I'll give you this. I'll give you this. He replaced Bruno and played in his position against Liverpool at Anfield, and did fuck all. Absolutely zilch. So yeah, I think we can tuck McTominay in the number 10 position into bed and read him a bedtime story, because that's dead before it's even really got started. But yeah, to me, as far as the other side of Bruno, where everyone's probably most critical, is how he behaves, his behaviour on the pitch, about frustration. So you could probably call it petulance. Petulance in the highest order. I mean, he doesn't necessarily cut the ideal captaincy figure, does he? In terms of how he communicates, leading the players in certain moments of the game, you're required to have different levels of a voice in the team, and how it is that you guide your players on the pitch. And to me, there's not necessarily a leader. I think it's just more the case he's desperate to win. He really, really wants to win really badly. He's a sore loser. I think it's easy to acknowledge that. Very much a sore loser. But he almost acts like a stroppy child when it's not going his way. He can act like a stroppy child, and it's just... it doesn't cut an ideal figure. And yeah, there's various different nitpicky bits that you can pick out, but there's so many of them, it just culminates into Bruno Fernandes right here, right now, is not good enough for Manchester United. He's got to fix that up, like, very quickly. He's the captain, and to be quite frankly honest, Martinez would probably be a better captain for Man United than him. Varane probably could be a better captain.
Never stays fit, though.
Casemiro. Those guys have got leadership qualities, but they've got really cooler heads. They don't strop. They get on with it. And that to me is maybe, I don't know if it's actually a contributing factor, because I know we use this conversation about Harry Maguire, where he gets the captain's armband and you see a shine taken off of his game, like it just looks crap. 50 shades of
too
crap.
much. The pressure. Maybe it's the pressure on him.
I think
increases.
Pressure, or he's thinking about things too much, like he's overthinking his role as the captain, and he's trying too hard to be a Manchester United captain. So because he wants it too much, it's ultimately it's ultimately killing him in his game.
Maybe we'll have to see. I want to ask everyone, and I'll start off with Fuzzy, then I'll ask Bantz, and I'll ask Anthony. Predictions. What would you give me a scoreline just off the top of your head? It doesn't have to be. What do you reckon?
Wow.
Was it at the Etihad? Is it at Old Trafford? It's at Old Trafford, isn't it?
Etihad. We lost 3-0 at Old Trafford already to them. So literally, I said it would be a 2 or 3-0 type game, to be honest, just simply because that attack is so unbelievably toothless. Maybe that defence and midfield, though that defence looks a bit more threadbare, that defensive midfield could actually turn up and have a relatively decent game. But even with a solid defence and solid midfield, you can still lose comprehensively to Manchester City. You need an attack to connect all the dots up top. So,
but one thing I do remember, similar murmurings about you guys going to Anfield and how you lot were going to get destroyed, and all the Liverpool fans were like, "Yeah, we're going to 10, mate. Yeah, 0-0." You know what I mean? Well, I mean, careful about predicting the future.
Well, at least if it ends up being a better result, at least we can actually all be pleasantly surprised, as opposed to saying, "Yeah, we'll go to Anfield, we'll beat Liverpool this time around. You will get the revenge," and then you draw 0-0. It's like, oh. Instead of it being, well, I think we're going to get absolutely bitch slapped at Anfield, 0-0. Well, at least we didn't lose. So that's, we're halfway there. It's not a win by any means. And I suppose that's the thing. There's a few people that were actually off the back of that result fairly disappointed that we didn't actually snatch the win, snatch and grab type settings, because Hoyland, I think, had a really big opportunity to beat Allison down at the Coppen. So, yeah, I think there's various takeaways from these games where people look back on it in hindsight and say, but if we'd just taken that chance, we could have had an even better result.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just given the season that we're having thus far, we're just taking things that we can get, the smallest wins as much as possible. Of course, now that Ineos are in, we want to change that. We want to shift that expectation and start, pushing those boundaries a little bit more and say, well, now you're doing this and now you're doing that. Now we want to set, the mentality and your standards here to expecting to go to these places and win. So I think it's just
time will tell.
It's a time game.
Anthony, what do you reckon?
Oh, do you know what? I think this is going to be a high goal scoring game. And sorry, Fuzz, I could see nothing but a Man City win here. So if I was to predict a score, I'm going to go 4-1 Man City.
Oh, 4-1. Yeah, what, Haaland hat trick?
Haaland hat trick, and maybe Foden. Just put him in there.
Yeah, he does turn up. He does play against Man United normally quite often, doesn't he? He pops up against Man United.
They both got hat tricks, by the way, in the last game at the Etihad.
Oh, plenty to look forward to then, Fuzzy.
Oh, if he did that then, Fuzz, okay, then I'll go what? I'll go 6-1 Man City then if they both get hat
Man's just up the ante. Brother Bantz, how about you, man? How you feeling about this game?
I think it's going to be like 3-1 or something like that. I think City would have pity on you guys at some point. And that's if you don't even score. But it all depends how Ten Hag sets you guys up. Because if City score an early goal, then it could be you guys could be in a lot of trouble. But if you keep them at bay, at least for the first half, then then probably a 2-3-1 or something like that. But it all depends on the first 10-15 minutes for me, because City are obviously going to be up for this. They're going to be up for it in a way you guys aren't, because they're going for the title, aren't they? So it's like a different, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different phase of the season now. So, this is business end for them. So whoever's in their way, they're just sweeping teams out of the way. So I can see them, really being aggressive against you guys, and I suppose one positive for me is that what's your goalkeeper's name again? I can't remember. I've forgotten him. Onana. I've been impressed with him recently. I think he's been a lot more better on the ball. A lot more controlled. He's been making a lot of good saves. I didn't see the Fulham game, so I can't talk about that. But from what I have seen from him recently, he's kind of he's cleaned up a lot of those mistakes. So you've got a decent goalkeeper there, but it's Haaland against Onana on tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes.
De Bruyne versus McTominay.
Oh yeah, that's another thing as well. I was going to say as well. Who's that player you just mentioned? Just
Amrabat.
He's left now. No, the other one.
Fred.
Yeah, he would have been the ideal player to chase De Bruyne tomorrow. Just to mark him, just to stop him going here, there, and everywhere. But I don't think McTominay would do that.
No. He doesn't follow his runners in midfield.
Yeah, he won't follow his runners. So yeah, I want United to do us a favour, but man, I can't see that happening.
All right, so everyone looks like the other than maybe Fuzzy who said 2 or 3-0. Everyone else is kind of like drifting towards 4-1. So I'm actually gonna throw a spanner in the works. I'm gonna go maybe 2-1 United. And you know why I say that? It's because right now what everyone's saying is too obvious. You know, one of those ones where like it's just...
I'll bet you up with a theory here. Rashford's released a PR statement this week. That means we're getting Messi-esque Rashford, prime CMR7 settings. He's going to turn up and just
CMR.
wipe the.
You mean
Literally, he's gonna
VCR?
wipe the floor with everybody. Literally, Kyle Walker's going to have both ankles broken tomorrow. He's just going to retire at half time. He's just going to retire because he'll be like, nah, fuck this, I'm gone. See you guys.
Fuzzy, you know what? With you talking like that, you know what song that reminds me of? Your defense is in trouble. Rashford's in the room.
The only thing that saves you, I think, is if Rodri gets a red card. You know, I think. Well, I don't think that actually save you 100%, but
well, Bruno's taking acting lessons. Bruno's taking acting lessons, then maybe.
Yeah,
oh, Red! Oh, thy hurt me. Give Di Red a card. I could have just imagined that man doing a full run.
You can't ask referees to give cards anymore because otherwise you're the one that gets it. You're like, Rev, give him a red card. Okay.
Well, in that case, definitely asking them.
No.
I've got no love for Man United or City. As far as I'm concerned, stuff both of you. Truth be told, like, you know. But, you know, all right, because obviously the other big game that involves the title that hasn't been played yet is, of course, the Arsenal game. I want to get everyone's big up DJ Crane in the building. How you doing, brother? I just want to get everyone's take on this, and I'll start with Anthony because he was in my chat earlier. He saw some of the insane score lines I've been predicted today by certain Arsenal fans. Give me your take on how that game should go, my friend.
Well, I mean, it should be a comfortable game, you know, against Sheffield United. It should be, well, basically, Wolfie, it should be a walk in the park, you know, definitely. I mean, the way we've been scoring goals of late, what's that, 27 goals in 6 games and 6 wins on the bounce. And I feel like, you know, that our midfield is it's taken a while. But I think that trip to Dubai may have done them the world of good, even though I was
salty beef. It was a salty beef, man.
It was the salty beef, definitely the salty beef. And but you know, I feel that it's going to be a good game for the Arsenal. I don't think he's going to change the squad. I think he's going to go with the same squad with a certain Kai Havertz up front. You know, so but. You know, I mean, obviously, he didn't really score that many goals. I mean, in the last 6 games, Kai Havertz has only scored 2 goals in the last 6 games. Trossard has got 4. But listen, Mikel Arteta's got his own. He got his favourites, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? So it's more likely Trossard to be on the bench. But what I've noticed with Kai Havertz playing up front now, he's actually causing a problem in that 18-yard box, which defenders are like, you know, he's causing problems in the box for them, which obviously opens up the gaps. And this is what Arsenal's been doing. We've been exploiting these gaps and obviously scoring the amount of goals that we've been scoring. So may long it continue. But I mean, if I was to say a score prediction now for you, I would go most probably 5-0 to the Arsenal. I did message you earlier, and I did say 37-1, but you know that was a bit too steep. So
he did. I can actually honestly say he did actually say that as well. And I was looking like, okay, he hasn't been drinking, has he? Saturday afternoon, like, you know.
That's an unrealistic scoreline, Anthony, mate.
Yeah, I know.
37-1. I mean, come
37-1. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that's unrealistic. They got 26 in their last 2, bro.
I'm talking about Sheffield United. Like, why are you thinking they're going to score a goal? That's not realistic.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
37-0. 37-0.
Well, you know, I've got a kind heart, Fuzzy. You know that. You know, so.
Man said 5-0's got a kind heart. I remember that.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good game. Going to enjoy it. So, but yeah, and then we go on to our next game. obviously you had today, Wolfie. That's going to be our next game after Sheffield United. But I've got to be
Brentford.
honest with you, I don't feel since he's come back from that ban. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he has scored a few goals, Ivan Anthony, but he don't seem to be the same player. Obviously, what
We
he was.
pocketed him today. I want to say that right now, right? As much as we, like Brentford, we let ourselves. I'll go into that when we talk about the fixtures today. But I was waiting for Budgie, but he doesn't seem to have made it. But I'll go into that when we talk about it. But I'm not being funny. He didn't do anything today against us. Absolutely nothing. It was actually quite shocking. I was actually very surprised. But anyway, Bantz, do me a favor. Give me your feeling on this Sheffield United game, bro.
It's going to be quick. Yeah, routine win on Monday. 3 points. That's all. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter what score it is, as long as it's 3 points.
AFC always said that as well.
Villa, they're literally 3 points behind us. Their goal difference is, their goal difference is coming up as well. Obviously, it's not as good as ours, but I think it's equal with City now. But yeah, it's a routine win. I hope Martinelli, if he plays, he gets on the scoreline. Saka, hopefully he scores, and yeah, just another confidence booster for the boys on Monday. And you know what? When you're in title challenges, you've got to believe that you can win every game. It's no point being here and not having no chest and thinking, do you know what? I don't know if we can beat these guys. You've got to have chest at this point of the season. So yeah, routine win for us. 3 points Monday.
All right, fair enough. Right now, I'm not okay. What's your scoreline? Did you say? Well, I know. Anthony said 37-1, but what are you saying?
62-1.
62-1. So we're going to multiply by very.
Definitely.
I honestly say I must be the only member of this panel not drunk.
We're kind
Nah, you know what?
A goal, though. You have given the opposition a goal. That's how kind the fans are.
An own goal, yeah, an own goal.
An own goal, yeah.
I'll get onto that AFC always. I'll get onto that.
4-0.
4-0. All right, 4-0. So we got 4-0. All right, now Fuzzy. Now I want to ask you a slightly different question because you like to study the game like I do, in terms of just keeping an eye on little details. All right, what do you think has been the difference to Arsenal's attacking firepower? Because a few weeks ago, everyone was talking about how Arsenal's front three weren't gelling, they weren't scoring enough goals. But since they've been starting with Trossard, Martinelli, and Saka, they seems to have turned the corner. As from the outside spitting in, so to speak. Give me your take on it, mate.
I don't know what, to be honest, I don't really know what it is that's so much changed about Arsenal. For me, they look a lot more comfortable. I think Arteta perhaps keeping game plans a bit more simple, a bit more straightforward, perhaps. So instructions are not as overly complicated. Because I know with Champions League for some reason or knockout competition games, a different Arsenal likes to turn up. But if there's ever anything like a mental block in the Premier League, it's pretty much for the most part gone. And they're probably somewhat closer to what they were last season with playing intensity, controlling games. I think perhaps the balance in that team's a little bit better as well in the midfield area. Because I think the midfield is probably quite a big part of Arsenal's woes throughout the season when there has been woes. That whole midfield dilemma there, but. I think balance has sorted itself out a little bit there, and because you've got a happier midfield, I think it feeds into a bit more of a happier attack as well. I know with Gabriel Jesus, not fit and available. Eddie Nketiah, King of Zamunda, is just doing side quests at the moment. You've got Martinelli, who's you've got a good eye for goal, but it's very good with the trickery, going out. The outside, cutting to the inside, doing all sorts. I mean, Newcastle, one really good move he made was going opposite, literally cutting straight run down the back door of the defence, going to the other side to receive the pass, and then using his shooting foot to then play it into the middle for Kai Havertz to finish it. So there's different elements to Martinelli's game. I think Saka can be a little bit, still a bit too one-dimensional in his individual play. But I think with the way in which like momentum is in Arsenal's favour, it makes what Saka does a bit easier for him to do. I think it's just the overall pressure that the team collective can do. It doesn't look like it's all futile from Saka now. So I think everybody else is sort of stepping up a little bit around him. He looks like he's just another cog in the machine. So when he does his step inside or shooting on his left foot, he's finding more joy doing that now. So of course he looks a much better player for it. I think it's just various different dominoes that have fallen to get Arsenal back into this state of things, which has come at a really ideal time of the season, to be fair, and they're still in a good position in the league table. So for them, it's just a case, well, we're up against it with Man City and Liverpool. As it stands, I think both of them are ahead in the table on points, but you're in the mix. You're not out and out clear favourites, but you're in the mix.
Got to keep winning.
So I think you're not clear and obvious favourites to that. Like that team is not thinking, oh yeah, we're clear and obvious favourites for the title here. We're not 8 points clear. We're not thinking about the pressure the same way.
That was the ball, by the
way. Yeah, I never remember the Daleks ever saying that.
Exterminate.
Literally, that is it. But yeah, to me, the pressure's perhaps not the same at this point as it was last season. So for me, I think Arsenal relish the challenge and also relish where you are at the moment. Because to me, for that team's sake, in terms of mentality, you're probably better off in that position than being too far ahead in the table, thinking there's a big cushion there, and essentially feeling, getting either too comfortable or getting into your own heads too much. I think it could change the closer you get to the end of the season, because of course, the closer you get, the more pressure just generally increases. It's the same for everybody. But as it stands right now, Arsenal in a really good spot and plenty to look
on the up
positives.
Definitely.
Can I just chime in there? No one expects Arsenal to win the league.
Unless you're from AFTV.
Yeah, unless you're from AFTV. Well, me and Tony don't anyway. But yeah, it's a nice ride at the moment, and I just have to address DJ Crane, about routine wins and stuff. Yeah, sorry, but Sheffield United is a routine win for Arsenal. Yeah, if we can't beat Arsenal, yeah, then Arsenal and Championship should never go hand in hand ever again. Yeah, this is Sheffield United. Yeah, are the whipping boys of the league. Yeah, they're gonna give it a go. Yeah, it might be uncomfortable for first half, whatever, but this is a routine win for us. Yeah,
it's a must win.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Every game's a cup final for us. And
Newcastle can go
obviously,
get 8.
we've got Newcastle got smashed, and we can talk about all the other teams that got smashed during the way. But I don't really care about all these big score lines. All I just want is 3 points. So I don't care whether we beat them 1-0, 2-1. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Last minute goal, last minute penalty. As long as we get our 3 points at the end of the day. So it's not a case of there's two better teams, in my opinion, in front of us at the moment. That's City and Liverpool. And those are the two guys that we have to keep pace with at the moment. And we're doing that at the moment. We've also got Villa, on our backs as well. So, we're doing what we need to do at the moment. We've got a big game coming up, obviously, with Porto. City is the big game as well. And all the top 3 teams are going to drop points along the way. you know, I think Liverpool and City, that's a very big game. That's going to be a very big game to determine something, you know, in terms of like who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. So yeah, you know, I don't think we're moving arrogant at the moment. I just think we're just enjoying the ride at the moment, and you know, it's nice to be confident for once in the season, for one part of the season. So yeah, I'm enjoying the ride, and you know, it can turn at any point. I appreciate that, but at the moment, you know, we're doing what we need to do, and I'm proud. I'm proud of the boys. Where's Wolf gone?
I'm here. No, I'm
He
here.
ran away.
No, well, where was it? We're putting out some tape for you. That's all. So yeah, let me ask. Right, the Sheffield United thing. Well, what do you think the scoreline will be, Fuzzy?
Or scoreline. Probably end up being a 6-0, to be honest. Probably remember it being 6-0. Plus, it's Premier League as well. Arsenal, for some reason, at the moment, just can't stop scoring in the Premier League.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Right. So, like, talking about teams that are in it and have a shout, and you shouldn't take your eyes off of them. Villa. Now, I felt so bad for Luton earlier when they lost. I really did. I felt for them because the second half of that game was actually quite fun to watch, and they had chances to win it themselves. Actually, Luton. I felt really, really bad for them. But I just want to bring up a star comment that I put from earlier on from AFC Always. Ollie Watkins this season is flying. 16 goals and he scored twice today. 10 assists. Where is he in everyone's estimation now? Serious player now, or has he still got a bit to prove? And I'll start with Bantz.
Well, he scored 15 last season. He's got 20 goals in all competitions this season, and he's a typical, you know, English player. Yeah, you know, gets in behind. You know, he's very bullish. You know, he's very physical. You know, and he's a very good finisher as well. You know, he's a very good finisher. And yeah, I think he's going through his peak now. He's 28 years old now, isn't he? 28, isn't he?
Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, I think, you know, some of the stuff he done today, you know, like the quick thinking, you know, like that run from the free set piece from Luis, and the finish was beautiful, and the header as well from the corner as well, you know. So he's cooking at the moment, you know. He's a very good player, and you know the big test for me would be him against City, you know, because they've got City coming up. I think in a few weeks' time or 3 weeks' time, or can't remember, but they've got City coming up. I want to see how he fares in that game. But yeah, I'm loving what I see, man. I'm loving what I see from him.
Fair enough, Anthony.
Yeah, you know, I think he's fantastic, Ollie Watkins. Be honest with you, if Arsenal couldn't get Ivan Toney next season, he'd be another one of the players that I would recommend Arsenal to get. But I mean, I've read on there as well. Where was it yesterday? I was reading yesterday. Like obviously with the two Villa players, with Ollie Watkins, now Villa has actually put a price tag on him of £75 million. And this was yesterday. I was reading that, and it was from I think it was from Sky Sports or something like I was reading it from. So they slapped a £75 million price tag on him. Hopefully, obviously, to stop other teams obviously going in for him, because with him, Unai Emery needs to build a team around these players. You know, Douglas Luiz is another one. You know, they value him in now at 100 million. So apparently for next season, I read it's going to be Arsenal and Man City trying to snap him up. So, you know, you've got the best 5 players there. I mean, including the goalkeeper, Martinez, you know, and then you've got obviously the centre back. Yeah, and then you've got Douglas Luiz, you've got McGinn, and Watkins up front. So, you know, Emery, what he's going to try and do is try and build an impressive team around these 5 players. I mean, you look at that when he took over them; they were 17th when Unai Emery took over, and then he finished what was it 5th or 6th last season, Aston Villa. So you know, I think they're a really good team, and I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're they're going to finish in the Champions League spot. I think they're going to finish fourth, Aston Villa. I really do.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe them over Spurs, because I know everyone else will say Spurs as well, because they had they had a good result, but they weren't as maybe have good consistently as Villa have been, and Villa have been in Europe as well, so quite having a decent run as well as far as I know.
They're only 3 points behind us as well. They're
Well,
only
that's-
3
yeah.
points behind us.
That's what I wanted to talk about, because they're no joke, bro. They're looking the real deal, like a proper Unai Emery team. And to say that, and the thing is, wouldn't that be ironic if he's the one to help put the pressure on Arsenal, considering what happened with him in the Arsenal board before? Maybe it's a bit looking in the drama storyline area department a bit, but it's worth noting. It's worth noting. And on that, with Liverpool as well, didn't they scrape it by the skin of their teeth today?
No.
Wow. Who wants to go first on this? Who wants to go first?
Who watched the game? Because I watched the game.
Oh,
Go on,
look.
you can go.
Go on, Anthony. Go on, Anthony. Go on, Anthony.
I mean, I'm only going to talk about it in brief. I mean, Forest. I thought they give them a good game. To be honest with you, I mean, I really thought it was going to be a 0-0, and then obviously, Liverpool stepped up towards the end and getting that goal. But I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was a red card in that game for what he did on the keeper.
Oh,
Seriously,
Dan's
Yeah.
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 He headbutted him, didn't he?
He headbutted him. Yeah, I think it was from the corner when he came out and collected the ball. It was something like that, and he collected the ball. And I heard the player was there. He just literally just headbutted him, sort of thing. But yeah, they were lucky they didn't get sent off down to 10 men, because it could have been a different story. But if I was a Forest fan, I mean, no word of a lie, I'd be pissed. Seriously, I'd be absolutely pissed off.
Yeah.
Spewing. I mean, I can remember. I think I was watching it on a bit of it on Yeti was what did a show on it, a watch along, and he was absolutely fuming towards the end. I mean, I couldn't blame him. So it was a good game. It's like what I said. I really do feel sorry for Forest at this time. If there's a team this weekend that I feel sorry for, is them. I mean, they did everything in that game to come out with it with a point, a 0-0. But from the goal, I do blame the Forest player. I mean, it's like what everybody said. Why not kick the ball at the pitch or kick it up into Rube's
That's all
end?
he had to do.
You know what I mean?
That's all he had to do.
So, that was it. Like, so I think he was the party to blame on that one. It reminded us, Bantz, of that goal in the Champions League, what Martinelli did against Porto, wasn't it? When he kicked that ball out and it went straight to the Porto player.
Yeah.
Roughly the same. So, I mean, people make mistakes in games and all that. I get it, but I mean, it's just obvious. Yeah, the smartest thing was just to kick the ball out of play, really. But commiserations to Forest. I mean, it was a gifted win to Liverpool as far as I'm concerned. And when I see Yeti, I'll be cussing him, saying you couldn't even beat bloody Liverpool for us.
Wait. What do you mean Yeti got cut off? He was in midstream and he just stopped, or what? What do you mean he got cut off?
Yeah, he got cut off tonight. What does he mean by that?
I have no idea. Drew's just right. I think he put it in your chat. I think. I don't know, mate.
I watched that. I went on there near the end because Jez was on there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on there. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
I have no idea. I was
Yeah, I
watching
don't
the Chelsea game was the same time, so I have no
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Oh, right. I would know. I mean, they were on there because he did the Forest and Liverpool game, and then he went on to do the Luton and Aston Villa game. He
Wait, hang
did,
He's saying
both
in the
games.
chat.
but
No,
I
but-
don't know what happened.
He's
Yeah,
playing
he was
music.
playing
apparently,
music on his channel. Then they might. Oh, hang on. There you go. I played music and got booted. Big up, guys. Oh, what's up? There you go. Speaking of devil, how you
I
doing?
don't know.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Sorry. Drew's just telling us your tale of woe because I was watching the Chelsea game where you guys were playing Forest, so I had no idea that had happened. That's why we were asking Drew. Oh shit, what happened to Yeti? YouTube gave him the boot. What? You mean what? Proper boot or just you got told off? I hope you didn't get the boot. That would be extremely sad if you did.
No.
Anyway,
I
yeah.
think he took down a stream or something.
Oh.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, he
yeah,
was.
big up
I
Eddie.
know he was fuming at the end of that game, the Forest game, and
Big
I
up,
don't blame him because they did everything in that game to get a draw. If not, they
Listen,
could
mate.
have probably nicked the win out of it, Forest. You
Let
know,
me tell you something. Yeah, I watched that whole game, and for 90 minutes or 98 minutes or how long it bloody was, I was a Forest fan.
team here.
Every time they was hacking, yeah, Hudson Odoi was cooking whoever on the right hand side. I can't remember who it was. He was cooking him each time, yeah. A one year, this guy really pissed me off today. He got into some good, he got into some good positions, yeah. But what instead of like laying the pass off, he shoot, and then sometimes instead of like shooting, he just make the wrong decision. There was a chance like where he could have passed it to the right, and that person was just literally in, yeah, to shoot, and they would have scored. I think in the first half, I don't know if it was offside. Who's that guy who's played for Man United? I always forget
Elanga.
his name. Elanga. He went through on goal, but he shot, and I think Keller saved it. Um, I actually think Forest should have won today, if I'm being real, because Liverpool weren't all that at all. Yeah, they had a few chances, yeah, but Liverpool weren't that great today. I thought Forest dominated that game. I don't know what the stats were, all possession or whatever, but I thought Forest were a much better team on the day. They played, like a team. Their attacks were good. I thought Origi was all right, but he played some stupid passes as well at times where he could have just played some obvious, passes to certain players. He was looking for the hard pass. I think Morgan Gibbs White. I think he's a brilliant player. He played well as well. Murillo, decent. Um, and it's just that fine detail at the end. I think it was a one year that actually didn't boot the ball out. I think he tried to control it, and it went to a Liverpool player, and then Liverpool player crossed it in, and then Nunes. The rest was history. But yeah, I thought Forest were good today, man. I was a bit gutted, and yeah, definitely gutted for Yeti today, man. But I thought Forest played a brilliant game, and Liverpool just. This is another thing as well. This is what top teams do, and you can ask Wolf. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sure, like in some of his championship winning seasons, he
Get
had
lucky.
results like this. Certain
Yeah.
games, yeah, where the ball just drops to you last minute, bam, you score. Even though you've been crap throughout the whole game or whatever, you just win the game and you just take the 3 points.
Wait, on what you just said, then is this Liverpool's year from the look of it? Then that's There you go. Me and Yeti think alike. That's what Liverpool is how titles won. Yeah, exactly. I think we're all kind of
Yeah,
thinking, is this Klopp's encore? And as he goes, right, a little double. Because let's face it, they're never going to match what City did because they're not even in the Europa League, and this will be his last season, so he's never going to play Champions League football with Liverpool again. So, interesting. The other team I want to talk about quickly, just briefly, is Spurs, and I'm going to chuck this to Fozzy. Do you reckon they've turned the corner because they did a nice little comeback, 3-1?
Well, to be honest, Tottenham, I think it's just the case really that they probably, because it's difficult to say because I haven't been able to watch any of the games, but by the looks of it, it's like Palace went there to try and do proper snatch and grab, frustrate the life out of Tottenham, right? So you get that goal and then that's it, shut up shop, defend for your lives. But yeah, Spurs just a bit of patience, find the breakthrough, and then it sort of opens up a little bit more. And I think that's probably how the flow of the game essentially went. The later into the game, the more Palace, I think, probably tired legs and end up opening up a little bit too much. And as much as Tottenham Hotspur, Jesus Christ, Inverna scored today. Bloody hell!
Timo,
Yeah, I know. Timo got a goal. I was shocked.
Yeah,
you can pop up.
yeah. It's just, I don't know, because I've got this reservation with Tottenham where it's like sometimes in games they're not like they don't play this possession style with the same sort of conviction that they had before the Chelsea game, basically, when they had this huge amount of injuries. They're going into every game with the serious air of confidence, but it looks like they go into every game and make the game look way closer and way tighter than it's been pretty much all season. But it's been several games now in the latter stages that they've taken it right to the very wire and then got the result across the line. I think maybe 3-1. I don't know. For anybody that's actually watched the game, would you say 3-1 is a accurate result in terms of how the game went?
Can't really say because I didn't watch it myself.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. I didn't watch it.
But the thing is, they've been doing that a lot recently, Spurs at home, where they start off badly and they go a goal down, and then they come back. But the only problem is I have with that, if I was doing that at home all the time, doing that away is fine because you expect not to always have the initiative. But you know what I mean? But in terms of when you're doing that at home, sooner or later your luck runs out and you stay 1-0 down because sooner or later you'll get a team that will actually defend against you. And the thing is, Spurs, from what I've seen, they've got a very good attacking style, which I like. But in terms of, and let's face it, because Spurs have kind of got a free pass in the season on that, it's Ange's first season, they've got no expectation on them. But if they do, say if this same team with maybe 1 or 2 additions gets in the Champions League next year, I think they'd get eaten alive. Because this team would be overstretched. And I think Arsenal are having like a similar thing in terms of they're bedding into European football in the terms of you've gone into the Champions League again. And even though you guys know that, you still have your hopes and your dreams for it, but you still kind of know there's teams in the Champions League you don't regularly face, and they're more on level and par with you than what you get in the Premier League, especially tactically. So it's one of those ones where, it's interesting. I think the whole Spurs thing is interesting, but I do agree that they're a hot and cold team. And I think that, and a lot of people, just quickly on their Champions League aspiration, I do think it's more out of Newcastle and Aston Villa because obviously Newcastle they're going to have the finances and the squad depth, and Unai Emery's got the know-how. So, does anyone else want to have a little take on this Spurs thing? Because I want to quickly talk about Newcastle and Fulham if everyone's cool.
Well, I mean, I'll just say a little bit brief in it. I mean, you said about the scoreline, Fuzzy. You know, obviously the 3-1 did Tottenham deserve it, but I mean, obviously I brought it up here. Tottenham in that game, they had 79% possession in that game. 79, and also which it is a lot. And then also, I mean, when you compare it down, I mean, Tottenham had 14 shots, Crystal Palace they had 4. So you know you can understand the scoreline. I mean, obviously they must have had to been defending that well, Crystal Palace, until obviously that first goal went in from Werner. So and then obviously their defender Romero scored, and then Son got the winner. So you know, I mean, they haven't really got much in their defence, have they, at the minute, Crystal Palace? So you know, they tried hold on to these games, but they just can't. I mean, you obviously I was watching a little bit of the highlight here on the YouTube, and their defence was literally awful in the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the game. So that's the reason why obviously Tottenham exploited their defence and go on to win a comfortable win, which personally I didn't really want to happen because I was excited when I seen Palace was actually winning 1-0.
Yeah, we all have.
Yeah, it's always the case, isn't it? Yeah. And then you refresh the screen, it's like, wow.
Well, let's think. We all hate Tottenham being London clubs, so okay, but with the exception of Fuzzy, but he's got the toilet bowl behind him, so like it's all good.
He's all good.
We all mutually hate Tottenham, so we'll leave it at that. Fulham and Brighton. Anyone surprised to see Fulham banging Brighton 3-0 today, or not really? Because Fulham, they're a hot and cold team as well, weren't they? Similar to Spurs.
So Brighton.
I don't rate Brighton, bro. Like I think Brighton are going to do a Southampton. They're slowly they're going to deteriorate now.
They are, isn't it? It's like Zerbi used to be flavour of the month. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him at the moment.
Nah, man.
No, he used to be highly rated. What is going on with Brighton? 1 minute they smashed Sheffield United 5-0. Was it last week? Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember.
2 weeks ago.
And then they're just getting battered by Fulham today. It's just they're an up and down team, but aren't they in Europe as well?
Yes, they are. They've got Roma next away.
Ooh,
no Jose though, but here you go. Could get a bit sticky though.
Yeah,
it could be. What about Newcastle beating Wolves 3-0 comfortably at home? Now I did expect Wolves to give Newcastle a bit more of a bit of a battle, but Newcastle maybe a bit of a resurgence now. Go on, Fuzzy. What do you think? What do you think is going on at Newcastle right now?
I think now they haven't got Champions League football going on, I suppose it's sort of maybe the mood in the dressing room has switched up a little bit. Maybe it's the message from Eddie Howe's, we've only got the Premier League and the FA Cup really to go for, so let's just make the most of what we've got this season. I think it's probably overdue a little bit that Newcastle get back onto the grind. I've said for a while that I think it's just a bit of mid-season stagnation or something, where it looks
injuries and suspensions, isn't it?
Injuries, suspensions. I think the tempo of the team just slows down a bit. I mean, West Ham as well, I said that their season was stagnating, and what's happened? They've had one or two good results in recent days. So I think there's ups and downs that every team goes through. Some look worse than others, but for me, I think Newcastle probably jumping back onto a little bit of something good between now and the end of the season. It's just whether it's consistent, because if it's consistent, then they're not a problem to teams like us, West Ham and that lot. But by the end of the season, they probably could be above us. It's all about that consistency and how much of it that they've got. They'll have a lot of quality, plenty of quality, Gordon, Isak, if Almiron's on it, Bruno Guimaraes. To me, I think Newcastle, they could be getting back into the groove with something.
Well, I don't know, because from what I understand in Newcastle, they have the most richest owners in world football, but they need to increase their standings and finances as a club before they can really. I really do think they're a sleeping giant. Really, I think they're a bit restrained at the moment, but I do think over the next season or two, if they can get Champions League football a bit more consistently, you'll see them spend big. But yeah, I'm not sure how I feel with an Eddie Howe Newcastle though. I'm not sure. I'm not being disrespectful. I like the guy. He's a nice, good manager, good coach as well. Yeah. But is he that guy though? I don't mean to be horrible. It's like when Graham Potter was appointed at Chelsea. Okay, I can understand why on paper this makes sense. But if you're looking to get to an elite level, you can't really be Eddie Howe and not have that pedigree there, which he doesn't. I'm not being funny. One thing I will say is he struggled this season. He's really, really, really struggled. Maybe that might have been down to injuries and suspensions, like Fuzzy pointed out, because we've all had points now in the season where our teams have had hella injuries, hella suspensions, and it's just affected our teams. Man United have had that, Chelsea have had that, Arsenal have had that, Spurs suffered with that the most because their squad's kind of thin, even compared to the 3 or 4 of ours, even 3. You want to include Liverpool, 4. But yeah, their squad's a bit thinner. But Yeah, well, how do you feel on that? Like, Bantz, what do you think? Like, where do you think Newcastle will end up? Maybe in a year's time. And I'll ask Anthony as well.
You know what? They got the potential to be up there, isn't it? Have a good run in the Champions League. I don't think they're ready to compete with the top four yet. Although they've shown that, they've got some kind of fight in them. The injuries killed them this season, I think.
And the Tonali suspension as well. The Tonali suspension really hurt them.
Yeah.
That really hurt them.
Yeah, because I think Eddie would be flying now as well. And also as well, in the Champions League as well, I felt they were cheated badly.
Yeah, they were. PSG, they were blatantly cheated. Blatantly. I did a whole video about that rule. Like, yeah, they were blatantly cheated.
It was wrong. It was wrong. So, they've got some good players, man, but they've also got, who's that big guy that's out at the moment, that's out for the rest of the season? I think he's a big miss as well in the centre midfield. What's his name? Big black guy. What's his name?
Gomez?
No, the guy in the centre midfield. Linton. Yeah.
Oh, Linton.
Him being out is a big miss for those guys. Yeah, I know he don't score many goals, but, he's a powerhouse in their midfield. Isak, very good going forward. Miley.
Gordon as well. He's flying this year, man. Gordon's having a brilliant season. He's arguably their best player now, bro.
Yeah,
he's arguably their best player.
Yeah, he's
Harvey Barnes as well can be good
Harvey
off the bench.
Barnes. They've got some good players. The goalkeeper got injured as well. Pope as well. So, and they've got two brilliant centre backs as well in Botman and Shah as well.
And a dangerous midfield as well. They've got a very dangerous midfield.
Livramento, Bruno. So they've got players. All they've got Tonali, who's obviously out at the moment. They've got good players. All they need to do is just add a couple of decent players. Maybe Eddie has taken them to their, as far as he can now. Maybe they need someone like a Mourinho or, someone that's just got a little bit more experience, within the Premier League and the Championship. Obviously, Eddie's got a vast array of experience, obviously in the Premier League as well. But when it comes to Europe, innit, it's a different
kettle of fish.
Very different kettle of fish. But I think Newcastle, man, the next few years, man, I think they could. I definitely can see them being a powerhouse. And hopefully, because I don't hate Newcastle. Hopefully, they knock City off their bloody pedestal. Yeah, they can knock City off their pedestal, mate. Because I can't stand them. So
we might get them up. We could beat them to the punch.
No, please don't. No. Wait, we need to beat you lot. We need to beat you lot. We need to beat you lot to the post.
Bantz, this guy, don't have no faith in his club, bro. Their new hope for football, their new business department or football department, bro, is controlled by a Chelsea fan. They're in a world of hurt, bro. So Jimmy Radcliffe is a Chelsea season ticket holder. Bro.
You know what they was
Do you know the worst thing about that though? The worst thing about that though, especially for Chelsea fans, is if the season ticket holder for Chelsea ends up making us really successful. Meanwhile, Cowboy Todd over down south is busy sinking the club to new levels.
Who is that? Is it that Ashworth guy? Is he a Chelsea fan? Who's the Chelsea fan?
Chelsea. Well, Sergeant Ratcliffe held a season ticket for Chelsea Football Club for a long time.
Oh,
and he tried to buy the club last minute whilst Todd Bowley and Clearlake were wrapping up their deal. They got rejected and had the door slammed shut in his face. So it's not a pretty look. I'll give you that.
Anthony, how do you feel about this Newcastle thing, brother?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a good win for Newcastle. So, I mean, they had an absolute drumming from us last week, didn't they, with that 4-1 defeat? So, they had to come back and do something. But, yeah, I feel, they've been hit by injuries a lot this season. You were right what you said there, Wolfie, and they did. I felt like, regarding Eddie Howe, same with same as what you said. He's a good manager. I felt that when they qualified for the Champions League last season, I think it was too soon for them. You know what I mean? Because I think it really was.
Overachieved.
Overachieved, yeah. They definitely overachieved last season. But I mean, it's like what you said, they've got the money there to spend. I mean, I'm looking at it now. I mean, with 5 stars being the highest, I mean, 2 players had 3.9 rating out of 5, and that was Murphy and Longstaff. The rest of them was all 4.5 out of 5. So obviously, it does tell you something about their team. I mean, Bantz, he hit the nail on the head. They're missing that Joe Linton as well, because the guy you know his presence. He's solid, isn't he? Do you know what I mean, Joe Linton? So they're obviously missing him a big deal. But I mean, regarding Eddie Howe, if he's going to be the manager next season, I don't know, but I totally agree with what Bantz said. I think maybe a Jose Mourinho, if he comes in, he can really sort that team out, and Newcastle can prove that they can obviously try and finish in the top 4 and get Champions League football game under him. But I think with Eddie Howe, I think they're only going to give him a certain amount of money to spend. I don't think they're going to give him a mega amount of money to buy these decent players in, because I mean, a manager like Eddie Howe, he's not going to attract world class top players at Newcastle. He's just not. Yeah. So obviously, maybe a new manager, change of face there, maybe suit him down to the ground. Basically, an elite manager, I'll say.
Fair enough. Now, just briefly, because I want to wrap this up, because I got my takeaway coming. Sorry, lads, my stomach's calling me. Just briefly, because let me just sum up the Chelsea game quickly by saying it was shit. Both teams played shit. They were lucky enough to score goals. It was poor all over the pitch. But West Ham. Now, I want to quickly talk about that game for 2 reasons. One, I have West Ham turned the corner, and can Everton take this with a bit of a free hit, because they had essentially 4 points awarded back to them this week when they had their ban appeal. For the 10-point deduction, it was reduced to 6.
Yeah.
So would you say that maybe today was kind of a free hit because they kind of got away with one? Because they still got another. Have they still got more charges coming, or is that the end of it?
I think they have got more charges coming, but I've been chatting about it, and if it is more points deduction, I feel obviously if they survive this season, beginning part of next season, if it was like minus, let's say if it was 6 points, let's say for figure of speech, they should start off with the minus 6 points next season and then progress up for there obviously for next season. So
it'd be fair,
yeah, it would be fair on them. I mean, you look at the other teams around them. Obviously, you could put. I think there's been talks with Forest as well with them. But obviously, with that, Man City with the 115 charges they've had against them, but that hasn't come anything about that. So they were lucky. But going back to this game, Wolfie, I reckon. Yeah, I mean, Everton, they were 1-0 up, weren't they? Everton, they were winning, and then obviously West Ham put on the pace and ended up scoring 3 goals and winning the game 3-1.
2 in extra time, by the way. 2 in stoppage time.
Yeah, definitely. So I feel with West Ham that they were on that bad patch, weren't it? So I feel that's that's their second win of 2024. That's their second win this year. And it didn't look good. Fans were crying out for Moisey, weren't they? They wanted to get him out, but listen, I think Moisey's he's correspond with the teams, the players there. He really gets on well with them. But if he was to go and a new manager come in, would the players play the same under him, like what they did under Moisey? So, but I mean, they're in a respectable position. They're still in Europe, so I wish them all the best, West Ham.
Bantz?
Who's that? Oh, West Ham.
Yeah, the West Ham and Everton. What did you think?
I didn't watch that game. I watched the game during the week where West Ham won 4-2 against Brentford. And yeah, a good win for them today. Does it? I don't know. They're at that stage where they're inconsistent, but isn't Paqueta back now.
Yeah,
He's
he
back
is.
now,
Yeah,
isn't he?
they did
So
get a couple of
yeah,
players back today. They did actually. Yeah.
yeah. So that's a good sign for those guys. So I think they got quite a favourable run at the moment. I think they've got Burnley next, isn't it? They haven't got. I think they got Burnley next, and I don't know who after that. And they got you guys as well coming up. Or have you played them twice already, Chelsea? But
I'm not sure. West Ham, yeah.
yeah,
Another look at the next. I know they've got us soon.
Yeah, they
And I
got
think
Burnley on
they
Sunday.
they got Spurs
yeah,
as well. They got Spurs soon as well, haven't they?
yeah. They got Spurs as well. So yes, they're coming good. You know, they've had just that's their second win of this year, isn't it? So
Yeah, like
fair
Anthony said.
play
Oh,
to
but
them, man.
they got
Fair
Villa as
play to
well.
them.
They got Villa.
Yeah, they got
Villa as well.
Wow, in a run, they have Burnley, then Freiburg, but after that they have Villa, Newcastle, and Spurs, Wolves, then Fulham. That ain't an easy run.
No, that's not no easy run. So
That
yeah,
ain't no easy
it'd be
run.
interesting. It'd be
Yeah,
interesting
it is.
what they get out of that. But isn't are they just below Man United at the moment? They're
On the
six, aren't they?
table, yeah, they're
Yeah,
six in
or
no
seven.
seventh. Man United are six, but they're 2 points behind United. But United have played a game less because West
Right,
Ham have played
okay.
27 games, where Man United have only played 26.
Yeah, so you know what? They're in the Europe. They're in the conference as well, aren't they? So they're probably going to be going for that as well. So you know what? I do like West Ham. So I wish them well. We oiled them up earlier, a few games ago. So yeah, I hope they get a few wins. Yeah, my old man's my late father's team. So I'll always. I'll always have a good word against
West Ham.
West Ham unless they're playing us.
Fuzzy, what's your take on this?
I mean, I used West Ham as a parallel to Newcastle, and their sort of dip in form mid-season. I've said numerous times to Tony as well that his West Ham team, is probably an idea sticking with Moyes just to see out the rest of the season, for the sake that it's most likely just a case that your form's just dipped off. The season, as I keep referring to it as stagnating, it's slowing down, it's hitting a rough patch, but you will get better points in the season. And I think returning to form now, ahead of their really difficult run, if you're finding resurgence in form now, then thank goodness you've managed to find it now, because at least you'll be a bit more combative in the tougher games up and coming, rather than letting yourself get absolutely mopped all over the shop like they did with Arsenal.
And that hurt them a lot, by the way, because of the London derby. So you guarantee they were pissed.
Yeah, as Odegaard said,
he's a cheeky one, isn't he? This Fuzzy. He's a funny one.
He is, isn't he?
Basically, I think with the way that coming out of a little bit of a mid-season rut, hopefully this is not more of the scenery that you'll see happening home and away in the upcoming games. Because I think there's a bit of hope, I'd say, to cling on to. And if you're starting to get back into the form of winning games, of course, Europa League is kicked off again pretty much. And West Ham, another competition. If they start playing well in Europa League as well, the fans will get behind the team. They will get behind the team and spur them on to go as far into that competition as they can. Of course, whether they'll end up winning it is a whole other question. I mean, Liverpool is still in the Europa League as well. They're waiting in the round of I think 32, I think it is, or round of 16 in Europa League. So there's a few things to at least look a little bit forward to if you're a West Ham fan. And I think with the team that they've got, the players that are there, Paqueta returning into that starting lineup, a very key influential player, a bit of star power in the team. alongside the likes of Kudus, alongside Jared Bowen as well, started finding the back of the net again. He's found a bit of goal scoring form. Really important moment to regain scoring form. I don't know how far away Mikel Antonio is from returning from injury. I think he's apparently pretty close, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a few things to look on the up in the ascendancy for West Ham, and I think it's come at a really crucial time as well, because it ain't getting easier as far as the games are concerned.
What porn site is Anthony looking on? What are you talking about, Rosie? Abs, don't encourage her, Abs. Don't encourage her.
I'm not. No, I just laugh, mate. I just laugh.
Right.
I'm getting ready to watch that Spaceman on Netflix.
Oh, Space, what, the Elton John thing?
No,
that's
this
Rocket
one's
Man.
got no, not that one. This is a modern one with what's his name? That guy that was in the Waterboy. What's his name? Adam
Sandler.
Oh,
Sandler. Yeah, there's an interesting movie on Netflix I'm gonna watch after. So yeah.
All right.
Everyone watch Spaceman. That should be decent.
Well, I'm hungry, so I'm gonna ask everyone to big up their channels, and I'm gonna start with Fuzzy. Big up your channel, brother, because I'm gonna go and eat in a minute.
Yeah, big ups to Pulvers 44 OG on YouTube, also on Instagram. Got, of course, the big game tomorrow, the big Manchester derby, or the funeral procession that will soon follow afterwards. So I'll see if I can find myself a black and white suit. So match reaction will probably follow that same evening.
I might do a watch along for that. Actually.
I'm going to be busy at work. So,
that'd be interesting.
So the game's probably going to go past really quickly for me. I can't imagine how slow and painful it could end up being for everyone that's actually going to watch it live. But I'll tell you what, I'll still have tears falling from my eyes if it is absolute.
Camera back. We got a problem. Beep. Sorry, Spaceman.
So yeah, man. Probably end up being on the Sunday Takeaway show as well, because that will be later on that same evening.
Yeah, no, I was going to plug that before tomorrow. Don't worry. Anthony, do you want to big up your channel and stuff as usual? All right, do you want to big up your socials?
Yeah. Well, basically, I host a show called Gunners for More Corners. That's on a channel called Football United TV. That airs at Thursday at 9 o'clock. We just get Arsenal guests on there, and obviously some other guests on there. We just talk things Arsenal, and obviously, if you're not Arsenal fan, you're on the show, I let them talk about their teams as well. I also do a show on Sunday, which would be around about, I think it'd be about at 5, 6 o'clock, something like that, which is called the Premier League Weekend Show. We have a quick roundup of the Premier League, and then we do a score prediction after that, and that's it. And by the way, I wasn't watching any porn. I don't know what happened there.
No. That's why I said no. We know you weren't. Rosie said it's a joke, mate. Remember them. But even for us, that's a bit random because we're all having a go. Yeah, oh, that feels a good one. Yeah, schneller. Like, I didn't hear none of it. Why didn't he send me some? Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, innit? Big up Abs, my partner in crime. Do you want to big up your socials as well, brother?
Yes. Fonghai.com. So you can get chicken fried rice, sweet and sour chicken balls, pause. No, yeah.
He didn't ask for giblets, isn't it?
That's a massive pause, bro. Massive pause. Listen, are you doing a watch? If you're doing a watch along tomorrow, make sure you send me the link. I'll watch the game.
Me, with you. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I've got nothing else to do other than watching. So yeah, I'll do a watch along for that. You know,
yeah.
I can laugh at someone else's misery.
Catch me on Uncle Jez's show tomorrow at 7 o'clock on the Arsenal History and More. I'm making my debut on his channel. So yeah, catch me on there on 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, and catch me in the chat for Hot Fuzz's tears when we get smacked up tomorrow as well. So I'll be there.
Ah, lovely. Don't you love it when we end it with a positive community vibe? It's
definitely.
It's touching, man. It's powerful, man. It's powerful.
This is my thing, Rosie.
I'm
This
not
is my
proud of
thing,
saying that,
Rosie.
man. I'm not proud of saying that. I want Hot Fuzz to win tomorrow, mate. I want United to win.
Yeah, Fuzzy, trust me. Whenever all the Arsenal fans, we're going to support your team. You're in deep shit, pal. Trust
we
me.
support Forest, they lost.
Eddie Gunner's going to be like contacting you soon, Hot Fuzzy, man. He's going to be contacting you, you know,
Paul.
right, asking for a Man United T-shirt.
Oh, God.
You know, a printed T-shirt for tomorrow.
This is going to get shameless, boy. Anyway, but I'd like to thank Fuzzy. I'd like to thank Abs. And I'd like to thank, obviously, he made his debut today. It's been an absolute pleasure having him. Thank you, Anthony, for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, mate. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself. I'm off to eat. So, yeah, have you enjoyed yourself, dude? You had a good time? Hopefully you ain't found it boring.
No, I find it really good. No, I've been on a show with you once before, making my debut on here. I've been on a couple of shows with Bantz as well. You know, Bantz talks facts as well about the Arsenal. So, you know, and I follow him. And basically, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow everybody's channel that's on here.
What did you say you're going to eat? What did you say you're going to eat? Pizza? Because you said.
I said I've got my fish and chips coming, so I'm gonna have a proper like British sort of like meal. I got sausage and batter. I got saveloy. I got chips, and I might have a fish cake.
Oh, damn.
I just pissed off the Chinese. Nice. I had a takeaway as well.
There you go. Well, in that case, stop making me hungry and let me get out of it. Go on, Fuzzy. What are you gonna say, mate?
Yeah. Had me some nachos and chili con carne.
All right, shut up. You lot have eaten. I haven't. Like, don't mock. You're mocking the afflicted, man. Nah, but big up everyone in the chat as well on mine and then obviously on Bantz. You know, Longhead, Yeti, Drew Gunnar, Rosie, DJ Crane, everyone that's been in and out for a whole day, including Anthony as well, who's been in both streams today. Appreciate him for that. Everyone, stay safe, take care, and we are out.